Hi, hi. If you can hear me, just um, put your best emoji in the chat so that I know you can hear me. Hi. If you can see my smiling face, also put your emoji in the chat so that I would know that you can hear and we have sound check and sight check out of the way. Okay. I see a lot of people saying they can hear, which is amazing. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy Saturday to come spend time with me and with the rest of us here. I really appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. Thank you for bearing with all my reminders. I really appreciate you for being here. So we're going to jump into it because we have like a lot of things to talk about today and I don't want to waste our time. So how it's going to go is this. I'm going to start with the presentation. So I'm going to put you through what you came here to hear, which is the hidden gem in the Provincial Nominee Program of Canada and how you can take advantage of it. While we're going through the webinar or through the presentation, I enjoin you to listen because some of your questions might already have been answered. So it will make no sense to ask questions that we have already answered in the webinar or in the presentation. And when we're done, then I'm going to open the floor and you can ask your questions. Please note that the questions you're asking should be about the topic. Don't ask me about studying in Canada or anything that is not related to the PNP. Please, I'm begging you, try and pay attention. Be here with your entire mind. Be here with a positive mindset. Be here with a notepad so that you jot down what you're learning and also you jot down your questions. Don't forget that you need to subscribe to the channel before you can ask questions and before you can leave a comment. No spammy comments, please. Don't drop any links in the comment as well. So I'm going to go ahead now, share my screen, go through the presentation, come back, and I will answer your questions. Is that okay? I'm also going to be introducing myself for those of you who don't know me. So, but let's just jump into it because we don't have too much time. Okay, 1 second. So if you can see my screen, just let me know, just to be sure that everyone can see the presentation before we start. Okay, so welcome to today's presentation. Just going to start right away. Okay, so today's agenda, we have a limited time, but in that limited time, my goal is to enlighten you on the Canada Provincial Nominee Program. I want to help you to develop some confidence on how to take advantage of this hidden gem to relocate to Canada. I want to bring clarity where there was once confusion, and I want to help to make your Canada relocation dream a reality, okay? But like I always say, implementation is key. There's no need for you being here if you have no intention to implement what you learn, if you have no intention to taking steps towards leaving your country or relocating to Canada. So I'm going to give you my best. I'm going to give you all that I think that you need, but I also need you to also promise me that you will take action, you pay attention, and that you go ahead and implement. So do we have a deal? Do we have a deal? If we have a deal, just tell me we have a deal in the comment section. I'm going to step on it. So do we have a deal? I just want to see 2 or 3 people saying we have a deal. So I know that, yes, I have people that actually committed to taking action and then we'll move forward. Okay, great. We do have a deal. Fine. So today we're talking about the hidden gem, how you can relocate to Canada under the Provincial Nominee Program this year. And I want to give a little bit of disclaimer that this information is of a general nature. It is for education and information purposes. Please do not take it as professional advice, and it doesn't guarantee any outcomes. Okay, so it is just for education and information purposes. So who am I? Who am I? My name is Sheyi Obasi. I am a Nigerian, proud Nigerian, but I live in Ontario, Canada, where it is warm today. We're enjoying great weather. I think we're about 18 degrees centigrade, which is really nice. I've been in Canada since 2018. I am now a Canada travel consultant. I came as an international student, so I have a very good understanding of how to come as an international student. And I also got permanent residence for myself and my family using the Ontario Provincial Nominee Program. So I also have a good understanding of how the Provincial Nominee Program works. So the topic, once again, how you can relocate to Canada using the Provincial Nominee Program this year. So what we're going to be talking about, what is the Provincial Nominee Program and why I'm asking you to consider it. What are the options available to you? How do you check if you're eligible? We'll look at a couple of examples of provincial nominee programs and then the next steps for you. So Provincial Nominee Program, or PNP, as it is popularly called, is an immigration to Canada route, allows the Canadian provinces and territories to nominate individuals who wish to immigrate to Canada and who are interested in settling in a particular province. So this is different from the express entry, which is like the federal program. Provincial nominee programs are province specifics. So you might be asking, what is the province in Canada? So I will use an example like Nigeria. So Nigeria is a country, just like Canada is a country. Nigeria has states. So there's the north, west, south in Nigeria, and then there are states. It's the same thing in Canada. So Canada is the country. Canada has 3 territories and 10 provinces. Now, those are the 10 provinces that you have an opportunity to relocate to under the Provincial Nominee Program. If you look at the left of my screen, you would see the provinces. There are 9 provinces there, apart from Quebec. They are arranged alphabetically from Alberta all the way to Saskatchewan. These are the provinces that have provincial nominee programs that you can actually take advantage of. Quebec has its own program, but it's a different program. It's not under the usual provincial nominee program, and that's why I didn't put it here. So how do the provincial nominee programs work? Each province in Canada has its own streams or its own immigration programs that are targeted to certain individuals certain individuals or groups, and they have certain requirements. For example, in a provincial stream, the province may target students. There are some provinces that target skilled workers, or they may target semi-skilled workers. Some provinces even target particular skilled workers, business people, and entrepreneurs. So it depends on what that province is targeting. So why am I asking you to consider the Provincial Nominee Program? Now, if you look at Canada generally and at the population of people coming into Canada, people basically prefer 4 to 5 provinces in Canada. They want to go to those particular provinces. Meanwhile, there are other provinces that are desperate for people and that may need your skills. I'm going to show you a visual in a minute. Now look at this visual. This is the population projection for Canada in 2022 and 2043 by province. And you can see that Ontario has the highest number of people. Basically, Ontario is a big province, so it is not surprising. But if you look at the number of immigrants that are wanting to come into Canada, a lot of them want to go to Ontario, followed by Quebec, British Columbia, Alberta, Manitoba, and then it goes down and down like that. Meanwhile, there are some provinces like Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Newfoundland, who are desperate to get people into their provinces, especially skilled workers that can help to improve their economy. But then people are going just to 2 or 3 provinces, which is what the government of Canada is discouraging. So why should you concentrate on the PNP this year? Now, the PNP is good for you if you do not want to study in Canada. I know studying in Canada is very popular, and a lot of people have used it to come to Canada, myself included. But if you do not want to study in Canada, the PNP is one route that you need to consider. If your CRS scores are lower than the express entry cutoff point in terms of age, education, or work experience, you want to consider the PNP. And I'm going to explain what the CRS scores are in a minute. Now, the last time, at the time I was preparing this presentation, the last express entry draw, the cutoff point was 490, and they invited about 7,000 people. A lot of you might have scores that are maybe 400, 450, 420, and you're not able to meet up the 490 points. Then you need to consider the PNP. PNP is also great for you if your IELTS scores are low. Some people have taken that exam like 3-4 times, and they just cannot hit the 8.0 mark or 8.5 mark. If your IELTS scores are really low for the express entry, you would want to consider the PNP. Also, if you have relatives in certain provinces, or you have connections to certain provinces, and you do not mind living in those provinces, then you can consider PNP. Another thing that I need to point out, listen up, is that PNP is taking over, especially in 2023. There was a time when PNP was in the background, but PNP is actually taking over. Look at this. This is really sweet. Canada PNP draws in March of 2023 invited over 8,000, almost 8,900 candidates. 8 provinces of Canada, Alberta, British Columbia, Manitoba, Ontario, Saskatchewan, PEI, New Brunswick, and Quebec held 21 PNP draws in March of 2023. Now, the federal express entry only holds draws every couple of weeks. That means in a month, they can hold 2 draws. But the PNP had 21 draws, and Ontario stands top as the province that issued 4,000 invitations in just March of 2023. So you see why the PNP is taking over, and the government is encouraging this because they've increased the allocations for most of these provinces. Canada's Provincial Nominee Program have recently overtaken the federal express entry system as the leading way for economy class candidates to gain Canadian permanent residence. Now, this comes at a time when immigrants coming to Canada through the PNP is expected to exceed 105,000 in each of the next 3 years. So it is expected that the number will rise to 105,500 this year and over 117,000 by 2025. Now, those might look like small numbers to you, but if you compare it to what has been happening with the PNP in the past, these numbers are really great and very encouraging, especially for someone who has been looking for a way to bypass the express entry and come into Canada as a permanent resident, okay? So people all over the world, not just in Nigeria, in Ghana, in different countries, whether they are families, whether they are artisans, whether they are people who are maybe chefs, whether they are construction workers, people with skilled work experience or semi-skilled work experience now have a chance to come to Canada as permanent residents, to land in Canada as permanent residents. The Provincial Nominee Program offers them that opportunity. There are people who have probably lost all hope of ever being picked from the express entry pool, but with the Provincial Nominee Program now giving so many immigrants the chance to immigrate to Canada, this is a dream come true for a lot of people, and I'm praying that it's also a dream come true for you. So why will you not consider the Canada Provincial Nominee Program after everything that I've just shown you now? This is one piece of information that you should not go to sleep on, and this is one route that you should consider. So who is the PNP for? The program is for workers who have the skills, the education, and work experience to contribute to the economy of a specific province or territory. It would interest you to know that some provinces actually place a lot of importance on certain occupations more than other provinces. There are some provinces that want a lot of tech people, but then in other provinces they might not. Some provinces want a lot of business people or a lot of nurses, and in other provinces they may not. So the province is actually just zeroing on the skills that they need for their province. It's also for people who want to live in that province. So please, if you don't want to live in Saskatchewan, don't go and do their Provincial Nominee Program, because doing their Provincial Nominee Program means that you want to live in Saskatchewan and you want to become permanent residents of Canada through their nomination. So you have to make up your mind to live in that province for a substantial number of years. So now you might be asking me, how do I know if I'm eligible? So are you eligible? How you would know if you're eligible: number one, you have the work experience and skills that are indicated in the program or the provincial nominee program that you're interested in. You want to live in that province and you have a connection to the province. Maybe you have relatives or you have a job offer there or you schooled there. One of these can make you eligible. I'm going to talk a little bit more about eligibility a few slides down the way. So what's the step-by-step guide to applying to a Canadian Provincial Nominee Program? Number one thing is that you find the PNP that is right for you. Like I said before, there are 10 provinces in Canada. The 10 of them might not be right for you. The 10 of them have different programs that target different occupations and different skills. The 10 of them are different, so you have to find the one that is right for you. Apply to your chosen provincial nominee program after you have found one that you are eligible for and that is right for you. Then they would send you a provincial nomination certificate. After you get your provincial nomination certificate, you submit your application for permanent residence. It's just a 4-step process. So how is the PNP structured? Immigrating to Canada through a provincial nominee program is step 1 in a 2-step process. If you're a successful applicant to a provincial nominee program, you will be nominated by the province to apply to the federal government for permanent residence. Yeah, so the province will approve you at the provincial level, and then you must apply to the federal level because the province doesn't have the power to make you a permanent resident, but they can give you a nomination which will give you an advantage to get permanent residence at the federal level. I hope I didn't confuse you. So it's a 2-step process. The PNP is actually step 1 in that process. The options that are available for provincial nominee. Now, provincial nominee has two wide categories. There's the express entry process, then there's the non-express entry process. The express entry process is the one that involves express entry. So for this one, you must be in the express entry pool. If you are not in the express entry pool, which I'm going to explain in a bit, you would not be able to participate in a provincial nominee program that is express entry based. And how does this work? Provinces regularly scan through the express entry pool to look for applicants with certain skills, certain knocks, and then they invite them to apply for permanent residence. But like I said before, you must be in the express entry pool to be invited. Then there's the non-express entry process. For this one, you do not need to be in the express entry pool. You are invited based on a formal expression of interest that you will submit to the province based on the program that you are applying to. You don't have to be in the pool. There's also the job offer and no job offer PNP programs. There are some PNP programs that require that you have a job in the province. There are some that require that you don't have a job in the province. I know this is a headache for a lot of people because they are like, oh, they want a job offer. There are some provinces that have certain programs that you don't need a job offer for. So it can be the express entry process with a job offer. It can be an express entry process without a job offer. It can be a non-express entry process with a job offer. It can be a non-express entry process without a job offer. And then a lot of times, if you have a connection to the province, you might have an advantage. You don't have to have a connection to the province, but there are some provinces, just a couple of them, who insist on a connection to the province. So there's the connection to province versus no connection to province. So these are the options: express entry job offer, express entry no job offer, express entry, non-express entry job offer, non-express entry no job offer, connection to province versus no connection. Now, how do you apply through the express entry process? I've said it before that some PNPs invite foreign nationals directly from the express entry pool. What is express entry? If you are interested in coming to Canada, I believe you already know what express entry is, but I'm going to talk briefly about it. Express entry is like the main federal immigration program of Canada. It's an online immigration application system for skilled workers. It allows people to submit a profile and to be considered as skilled immigrants to Canada. Candidates with the highest rankings are invited to apply for permanent residence. And this is how it works. So it's a two-step process as well. The first process is that you create an express entry profile. For you to create a profile, you need to have done your English or French test, both of them. And then you need to have done an education credential if you schooled outside of Canada. Yeah. So when you create a profile, you are placed in what is called an express entry pool. Now you're in the pool with all the other people who have also created express entry profiles because they also want to be invited to apply for permanent residence. Based on your profile or your work experience, your language ability, your education, age, and other factors, you are given a score. That score is called a comprehensive ranking score. Yeah. So you have your score, you are in the pool, you have your score, and you're in the pool with all the other people who also are in the pool and have scores. The federal government performs a draw every 2 weeks. Yeah. So they pull people out of the pool based on your CRS scores, and those who meet the cutoff point are invited to apply for permanent residence. They can now submit an application for permanent residence. That is how express entry works. Now, how is this related to the PNP we're talking about? Now, by the time you create your express entry profile and you are in the pool, a province might come to the pool and they are looking for, let's say they're looking for administrative assistance with a certain CRS score. So they scan and then they send you a letter to say, you know what, we like your profile and we want to nominate you to come to our province. What you need to do is that you need to confirm the express entry on your profile. You need to accept their invitation, confirm it on your profile, and you will receive an additional 600 points. If you receive an additional 600 points, it is likely that in the next draw, you will receive an invitation to apply for permanent residence from the federal government. So you wait to receive that invitation, you apply for Canadian permanent residence through the express entry system, and you're done. That is just how it works with the PNP that goes through the express entry. The main thing that you need to remember is that provinces regularly scan through the express entry pool to look for applicants with certain skills, certain knocks, and invite them to apply for permanent residence. This is why I always encourage people to be in the pool. It doesn't matter if your score is 200. Try and be in the pool. I have seen magic happen. Provinces taking people in the pool who actually thought that they didn't have a chance. And that's why the express entry is very, very related to the PNP. Try and create an express entry pool, next express entry profile today. Okay. So this is an example of an invitation letter from the province of Ontario. They found this person in the express entry pool. So she was just in the pool. Of course, we're not great. She was like, nobody's going, she's never going to meet up with the 500 or 400 and whatever score. She was just there. And then she got this letter. The government of Ontario is interested in considering you for nomination under its provincial nominee program, express entry. If you want Ontario to consider you for nomination, you must contact Ontario directly after receiving this letter. So there's a bunch of things you need to do. Then if you look down here where I've put a blue square, it says if a province or a territory nominates you through express entry and you accept the PNP nomination, you will be allocated 600 additional points in your comprehensive ranking scores. So if your scores were 200 and they give you 600, my goodness, that's 800. Draws they do next, they will definitely send you an invite. That's the magic of this. And the letter goes on and on explaining that if you accept the nomination, they would give you that 600 points, but you can only accept one nomination. There are some people who are so lucky that they are actually contacted by more than one province, but you actually have to only accept one nomination, not multiple. That's how the PNP works with express entry. So now let's look at the non-express entry process. Like I said before, the non-express entry process, you do not have to be in the express entry pool. Like I said before, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be in the pool. So in this one, you submit an expression of interest profile. So you're dealing directly with the province, unlike the other time where you just stayed in the pool and was waiting. This time you are becoming more proactive by dealing with the province, and contacting the province by submitting an expression of interest. The province holds expression of interest draws where they invite candidates to apply for nomination. Now, Different provinces have different ways of doing it, yeah? They have different ways. Some have a points-based system. Some will rank the applications according to certain criteria. It depends. So it's different. I cannot say this is how it works for all provinces because it's different. But whatever ways they are ranking, these provinces will actually choose certain people on probably a monthly basis or whatever, and then they will send you an invitation to apply for nomination. So you would still need to submit all of those documents, and we're going to talk about those documents in a bit, and then they would send you a nomination, okay? Now, the criteria for these draws usually changes from draw to draw. That's one thing about these provincial nominee programs. A lot of times they change the way they do the draws, or they change the criteria, yeah? So those draws may target a combination of a candidate's score on their own points grid. They might be looking at certain work experience in a particular occupation, language ability, education level. Some of them even just target only students that schooled in the province. Some of them are like that. So if an applicant receives a nomination through a PNP, which is not aligned with the express entry, this time around, you're not submitting an application, you're not getting an invitation to apply through your express entry profile, but instead you must submit a non-express entry federal application for permanent residence as a provincial nominee. Yeah, so you will still have to submit an application to the federal government. Previously, most of them were paper applications, but now I hear that a lot of them are also going online as well. So it's not just paper this time. You can submit an online application. So this is another example of someone who submitted an expression of interest to Ontario again for their OINP, Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. So they said, thank you for registering through the OINP e-filing portal. Your file number is whatever. You can log in. And they said, after you submit an application, you will receive another email to confirm receipt on blah, 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 blah. So this person had submitted their expression of interest. They submitted their documents after the province contacted them. You still have to submit all those documents. You still have to prove to them that you want to live in their province. Then after a while, they came back to this person and said, we are pleased to inform you that the certificate of nomination has been granted under the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. So please find attached a certificate of nomination and a nominee approval letter. So those are the two documents that will be given to you by the province. Yeah, they give you a certificate of nomination, they give you a nominee approval letter, and you can see that they are wishing you success in pursuing your permanent resident status in Canada with IRCC. Their job is done. Thank you for your interest in the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. I also want to mention that a lot of these certificate of nominations have a lifespan. So some of them are valid for just 1 year, which means that within that 1 year, you need to apply before the nomination expires, or you might have to go back to the province and start speaking big English, yeah, for them to give you another one. So try and apply within that time. So this was just step one. You need to move to step two, apply to the federal government for express entry, showing them that, you know, Ontario, Saskatchewan, whoever has given me a certificate of nomination, and I can now apply. So, like I said before, if an applicant receives a nomination through a PNP, which is not aligned with express entry, you must submit a non-express entry federal application for permanent residence, paper or online. Yeah, sometimes the non-express entry federal applications take longer than the electronic ones, the ones that are express entry. So that's the only thing. Non-express entry takes longer than the express entry one, okay? Okay, so I know the next question you're asking is, what are the documents that I need for the PNP? These are the same documents that you need for the express entry. It's just that the provinces might have lesser requirements in terms of IELTS scores, lesser requirements in terms of maybe proof of settlement funds, or in terms of work experience, yeah? So candidates must provide documentation that demonstrates their eligibility for the provincial nominee program that they're applying for. You must be eligible. So most of them, typically, they require your language results, your ECA, which is your educational credential assessment, if you did not school in Canada, proof of work experience, proof of settlement funds, which is your proof of funds, civil documents, maybe marriage certificate or whatever, and status documents, that's your international passports. Many PNPs also require proof that the applicant intends to reside in their province upon being nominated. Now you're asking, how can I prove that I want to stay in their province? There's so many ways you can do that. There's no time for us to talk about it. But of course, you need to hype them, tell them why you like their province and that you have every intention to stay. Remember that you are actually writing this down. You're making a commitment that you're going to stay in that province, okay? Now, all other documents will depend on the program that you are applying to. Okay, so let's look at a couple of examples. I know I've already used like, I don't know, 25 minutes. So let's look at some examples. First of all, we're looking at Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program. A lot of people ask me, how do you pronounce that? Saskatchewan. Okay, so Saskatchewan has basically, in a broad category, 4 provincial nominee programs. They have one targeted at international skilled workers, one targeted at entrepreneurs, one targeted at workers with Saskatchewan work experience, and farmer owner and operators. Saskatchewan also has PNP programs targeted at international students that finished in Saskatchewan, a public institution in Saskatchewan, or maybe even international students from outside of Saskatchewan. Yeah. Now, many of us here will be interested in the ones that don't need a job offer. And Saskatchewan, as far as I know, is a very popular, has a very popular provincial nominee program that I know a lot of Nigerians have used to come to Canada. So it is for skilled workers who want to work and live in Saskatchewan. They have, so the one I'm talking about now is the one that's express entry and has no job offer. On this subcategory is for those who do not have a job offer in Saskatchewan, who are living abroad or even in Canada, who are in the IRCC express entry pool, so important, and who meet the criteria of the subcategory. So I have just done a summary here. There's a lot more information if you go to their website, lots more in terms of what is required, in terms of what they're looking for, and all the other requirements, okay? So I'm just giving a summary that they actually have a program targeted at international skilled workers who are in the express entry pool but do not have a job offer. The truth is, if you can get the provincial nomination, you will receive 600 additional CRS points, like I said before, and such a massive express entry CRS point will mean that you will be invited for permanent residence from the federal government through the express entry. Saskatchewan has other nomination programs, like provincial nomination programs, that I can't talk about, but you need to check them out. Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program. The next one I want to talk about is my wonderful Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. Ontario was a program that I used to become a permanent resident, the OIMP. At the time, they had a provincial nominee program targeted at those who did PhDs or masters in Ontario. You did not need a job offer. Need anything, you just needed to apply. It was so simple. The only problem was that they had limited spaces and there were lots of PhD and master's students in Ontario at the time, but it was just God's mercy. I think they've changed a bit. It's now a points-based system, not the way it used to be. Yeah, but the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program are programs for people outside of Canada who are foreign workers, international students, business owners, or entrepreneurs. Ontario invites lots of people through its Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. That's one province that you should look at. Yeah, they nominate people for permanent residence who have the skills and experience that the Ontario economy needs. And mind you, Ontario is one of the busiest places, like the economic hub of Canada. And that's where, of course, the capital city of Ottawa is located. It is a great place to be. But the one I just want to talk about is the Human Capital Priority Stream, which is also an express entry stream. It is a pathway to apply for nomination in the OIMP without any job offer. The letter that I showed you earlier, the nomination letter, was under this same stream. The lady got nomination under the HCP stream as well. If you have an express entry account with CRS score above 400 points, at the time that I did this, OIMP can issue you notification of interest, which is an NOI, to apply for nomination to Ontario. So they will issue a letter. you will also need to apply. So you need to send them documents to prove that you have the work experience that you say you have, that you have the language skills that you say you have. You still need to send those documents. After they are satisfied with that, they will give you a nomination. When you accept it, you will get that additional 600 points that you have been looking for, and you will actually be able to get your invitation to apply for permanent residence. So this is the letter again that I showed before. So this person was invited under that human capital priority stream. She didn't have to do anything. She was just in the pool, and Ontario was looking for her occupation, and that's how she was picked. That's the magic of being in the pool, because you have to be prepared, yeah? Preparation meets what? Opportunity, or opportunity should meet preparation. You can't be prepared and miss out on the opportunity. The opportunity is available, but what if you're not there in the pool? Then what? Okay, so I've talked a lot. Due to time constraints, I cannot show any more examples. I would have wanted to show a few more examples, especially in the other provinces, Alberta, for example, and then a couple more in Ontario as well. But just want to keep it short and simple. But you get the drift, right, of what I'm talking about. So people always ask me which province is easiest. They always ask which province is easiest, because people want what is easy, right? So my answer is it depends. Some people have said that the province of Alberta and Saskatchewan are considered as the most complicated PNPs to get Canada PR in 2023 because they have low point score requirements. That is left for your own judgment. So that's Alberta and Saskatchewan. But the truth is that every province has a program that you can explore. Every province has something. If you definitely must go to Alberta or Saskatchewan because you have relatives there or you have a connection there, it's fine. But if you are someone who doesn't have a connection anywhere and you're just browsing and looking for something that you can actually take advantage of, then you need to be looking at least 6 or 7 of the provinces. Of the 10 provinces of Canada. So I'll just do a little bit of recap in case some people joined late or in case some of us are, have all this information floating around. So the truth is each province in Canada has different programs with different eligibility and different requirements. No one hat fits all. I think basically that's how Canada is. But you can't even use one province to judge another province. So, and you can't even compare all the provincial nominee programs together because each has their different eligibility and different requirements. So you need to study the guidelines and the requirements of each program to assess your eligibility. And you cannot be lazy about this. Trust me, you can't. Yeah. If you are really serious about doing this, then the time that you spend or the resources that you spend to check these guidelines and requirements will not go to waste. I mean, there's no time for me to tell you about my story of how dedicated I was to my travel plans and what I had to sacrifice. I did not care the sacrifices because it was a dream that I wanted to fulfill. And that's the kind of way you need to go after it. It has to be a project, okay? Now, the last thing is that the government of Canada makes the final decision to approve applications for permanent residence. You will not believe it, but there are people who are actually nominated by provinces and they do not get permanent residence. It's sad. Some of them actually make certain stupid mistakes in the application. Some of them are so confident that because I've been nominated by a province, that means that I will get permanent residence. You need to take the permanent residence application serious as a provincial nominee because the province can't give you permanent residence, only the federal government can. So, I think I've talked for like 30 minutes or 35 minutes. So have you gotten value so far? Let me just know that I wasn't talking to myself or talking into the air. So if you have gotten value, please can you put it in the chat, your best emoji or the emoji that expresses the value that you've gotten so far. Encourage me so that I can say more. Okay, so if you've gotten value so far, put your emoji in there so that I can know that you've gotten value so far because I've given value. So if you didn't get value, I don't know what happened. Okay. So the truth is that even if we had 4 hours together instead of the just number of minutes that we have spent so far. I can't tell you everything about the Provincial Nominee Program. There are 10 provinces, and the PNP application process can be confusing. I've been through it. I'm telling you that. Very good. It's confusing. It can be confusing. I was even here in Canada, and I had to be going back and forth, back and forth. I was like, check this thing, check that, check it 2 times. And applications can be refused if they are submitted incorrectly or if they are incomplete. And some of these provinces, the people who work there are, maybe they are harsh or they are just doing their job. If you make a mistake, it can be very hard for them to come back and talk to you because they are talking to a lot more people. So you want to get it right the first time, okay? So you must take care to ensure that your applications are completed correctly and they are submitted through the proper channel. Okay, so this is where we get to the point where we now say, okay, now blue pill, red pill, or how do they say, green pill, red pill. So I have taken time to create this presentation to make it as valuable and useful as possible because a lot of people don't understand the Provincial Nominee Program, and I wanted to give you a very good understanding of it. But of course, I can't spend too much time because it's already late in Nigeria. So you have two choices. Number one is that you can use the information I've provided here, which is very valuable, which is a lot. You can search the internet for free materials, and then you can try to go on it yourself. The only problem is you could waste time and money. I know, I've been there, so I know how it is to go down that rabbit hole. And you could also find wrong information. Sadly, there's lots of wrong information on the internet. You can find that wrong information and wasting time and money, or you could even be scammed, God forbid. So that's the first choice. I can do it myself, gang. Gang, which is the second gang, which is the gang that asks for help. You can borrow someone's brain and expertise to help you achieve your goal. The pros of this is that you save time and money, you have a guided system you can follow, and you have someone you can ask questions. To say something that might shock you a bit, there are lots of people in Canada, they are permanent residents, but they have no idea of this thing. So if you're asking those people questions, they'll be sending you down one road that they don't know. They don't know. Lots of people here, they are permanent residents, they send their relatives to me. I'm like, you don't know this thing. They're like, I don't know. You understand? Especially when it has to do with maybe studying Canada or permanent PNP. If someone didn't come through that route, then they don't understand it, okay? So you need a guided system to follow. And like I told you, I was nominated by Ontario Province, and I have so many friends who have done this nomination PNP thing, and I understand because I know how to ask questions and how to learn. So you have someone that you can actually ask questions. So I would urge you to choose the second choice. Oh, with those gang of I can do it myself. Okay. And if you have gained a little value from what I've shared with you so far, then you need to choose the second choice. Then you would want to hear about what I want to tell you next, which is my program called the Canada Express Entry Masterclass. This is actually a masterclass. When you say something is a masterclass, it's a masterclass that can help you to become successful in your express entry and in the Provincial Nominee Program. It is a comprehensive and detailed guide that will assist you in preparing and submitting a Canada Express entry profile. Remember, you need to be in the pool if you want to use the PNP, that is express entry. That's the PNP that is express entry, sorry. And it will also help you to submit a PNP application that has a high chance of approval. Just because you got a nomination doesn't mean you'll be approved. Some people get nervous when they get these nominations and they make errors, yeah? But this comprehensive Canada Express Entry Masterclass will help you avoid that. So you get lifetime access to a complete, simplified, step-by-step video tutorial that shows you how to do it yourself. And this is all the way from express entry to PNP, yeah? So you learn about express entry, which I feel is very vital. If you want to go through the PNP, then you should be trying both the express entry and the non-express entry. So don't concentrate on just the non-express entry simply because you don't want to do the express entry, yeah? It is a one-of-a-kind masterclass. We have video tutorials, there are templates, there are sample documents, all designed to make the process as effortless as possible. Imagine landing in Canada as a permanent resident. You don't have to go and be studying. You don't have to go and do Wahala. You get all the benefits of a permanent residence from day one. It also gives you all the tools that you need to ensure that your application gets approved, because trust me, sometimes you don't have second chances. Sometimes you don't. So in this masterclass, you will learn how to increase your chances of getting an invitation to apply for permanent residence, how to properly complete your profile, how to select your proper NOC code. So the NOC code is the National Occupation Classification, which Canada recently changed anyway, but that's the way that they classify occupations. That's how you can find your own occupation in that grid and be able to like choose and say that I am in this particular occupation. You also learn how to submit an expression of interest to your province of choice, how to find the PNPs that do not require a job offer, which is what a lot of us will be interested in, how to complete your express entry profile so you are visible to all provinces. You don't want to be visible to only Alberta or Ontario. You want to be visible to all provinces. Yeah, so even if New Brunswick wanted to select people, you want to be visible to them. And we also have walkthrough videos on how you can apply to different provinces, how you can go through their website, what to look out for, and how to apply. Okay, that's the ABC of the Provincial Nominee Program. Most of the things I already said. We also put detailed updates of new provincial nominee programs as they are announced. Like I said before, these provinces are updating all the time. The government has increased their quota, so some of them are coming out with new programs all the time, targeting maybe new classes of occupations that they haven't targeted before. So, I mean, it's an thing. If I was coming to Canada and I wasn't here, would be excited by this news that, wow, their updates, this their provincial nominee programs. It is an opportunity. Trust me, these provinces want you. They don't want you to go to Ontario anymore. They want you to come to them. Yeah. Okay. Also in this masterclass, you will learn how to complete your education credential. Remember, if you schooled outside of Canada, you need to complete an ECA, or what we popularly call WES. And then we also have tips on how you can increase your IELTS scores. The total of all of this is over $500. Trust me, because it is a well-planned, well-delivered masterclass, if I say so myself. So you should take this masterclass if you want to come to Canada as a permanent resident with your family. You want to submit your own application. You're not willing to spend thousands of dollars for a representative. You need guidance on how to prepare your application from someone who knows what they're talking about, who has your goodwill and heart, and you want to submit an application that has a high chance of approval. Now I ask you the question, how much are you willing to invest to get results? I mean, I have a feeling of nostalgia when I think about my own journey to Canada. If you ask me how much I was willing to invest, I was willing to give anything. Yeah. And that's what made me to be duped by someone, because I was just willing to give anything to make my dream a reality. So I ask you, how much are you willing to invest to get results? Have you heard of the PNP before? Have you tried it before? Have you been successful before? Is this something you want to also try while you're trying something else or trying another country? Yeah, similar training programs are sold for $497, and I know them, and they are not as good and they are not as comprehensive. Some of us here have paid agents $500K and above, right? Inclusive. And we've gotten nothing. But when we see a genuine product or service, we begin to drag our feet, which is really sad. Yeah, it's the truth. Some people will drag their feet and feel this is too cheap. I want to pay $500K. While some of those agents who paid $500K in the past, some of us, so I don't know about you, we didn't get anything. So stop dragging your feet. That's what I'm trying to say. Stop thinking you're spending too much on this Canada thing. Say you don't tire, because the end actually justifies the means. The relief, the happiness, the joy of actually getting this in the air. I meet people every day. I talk to people every day who eventually have their Canada dreams achieved, and they're on a totally different level. Yeah, so I want you to also get to that level as well. So if you sign up now, instead of $497 or $500, like other similar programs, you'll be able to get full access to everything that makes up this wonderful program called the Canada Express Entry Masterclass for just, drum roll, just $137, which in Naira is 60,000 Naira. I'm sorry, I didn't put the price in Ghana cedis or in which other money now, but it's $137 US dollars, and it's 60,000 Naira. Now, let me tell you about the amazing bonus that you're going to get for free. Don't forget that you're getting the express entry, and you're getting the Provincial Nominee Program. And it's really detailed. You also get access to the Temporary Foreign Worker Program. Because like I always say, every route to Canada is available for you. Yeah, don't shun any route and say this one is not for me, I'd rather do this. Just try and explore all the routes. Yeah. Canada is taking people in every year. They're opening up new programs just to encourage different types of people. You want to get in before places fill up. So the Temporary Foreign Worker Program is a program of the government of Canada that allows employers to hire foreign nationals, which you are, on a temporary basis. You get access to that program as well. I can't talk a lot about it, but there's a program called the Temporary Foreign Worker Program. You get access to it. Details of some recruiters that recruit for temporary jobs, how to go about searching and applying for jobs, how to avoid scams, how to create a Canada-style resume and cover letter that employers will actually glance at, yeah, and how to find those employers that are recruiting. That is a bonus that you get in addition to the Canada Express Entry Masterclass and the Provincial Nominee Program, the ABC of the PNP. So you're getting the ABC of Canada Provincial Nominee Program, the Temporary Skilled Worker Program, and the Express Entry. Remember that you need to be in the Express Entry pool for certain provinces to find you. If you want to make a purchase, ask for a purchase link from whoever invited you to this webinar. They will send you the link to make your purchase, and it's just $60,000 or $137. Now we come to the point where I tell you the kind of people that I like to work with. There are people that are like me. I like to work with people who are in a success state of mind, who have a positive mindset, who know what they want. A lot of us think we actually want it, but really we don't, and you would know from our actions. So if that's you, then this is right for you. To purchase, kindly ask for a purchase link from the affiliate that invited you to this webinar. So I'm slowly rounding up. As we finish out our webinar, you might find yourself sitting in the P category. I mean, you've heard me say all these wonderful things about the PNP. You might be one of those who have tried certain things, it didn't work and you're frustrated. You might be one of those who don't trust people easily and thinking, it sounds so easy. How am I sure it works? It worked for me, and it has worked for so many people that I know. It also works for you if you are planning to come to Canada as an international student. There's also the stream for international students. If you are in certain occupations, tech, or you're in administration or in hotel management, those are really good big occupations that certain provinces, I'm not going to mention them, of these provinces like those people, and they scan the Express Entry pool regularly for them, okay? So maybe this is right for you. Maybe something is here. Maybe. So you're still dragging your feet. I can see that some people are already making their purchases, getting access to the program as well as the bonuses. And then did I also mention that you can also send us email? We provide email support as well for the Express Entry and the PNP. Now, usually when people start dragging their feet, it comes down to one of the following reasons. Like I said before, they're skeptical because of their previous experiences. Some people have actually spent a lot of money. And I get it. I get it. Man, you don't want to hear. If I tell you my story, you will cry for me. So some of us have spent a lot of money. We are discouraged. We've been refused certain visas. We've been refused study visa. We're just tired. If this is your dream, Biko, pick yourself up. Right? And keep going. Some of us talk about money. A lot of people will look at the 60,000 and be like, my God, how am I going to get 60,000? I'm telling you that there are people who have spent lots of money and gotten nothing. That image on the right. This guy gave 5.4 million naira that he spent for himself and his family. They were deceived by scammers. They have not been able to recover all the millions they spent. This is a message that was sent to me. My colleague sold all his things. He was ready to relocate with his family. He told us goodbye. He did not even get his passport back. He spent 5.4 million. I told him to bring 60,000 naira for PNP or for Express Entry and learn how to do it himself. He refused. He spent 5.4 million. So people like this, sometimes will say they don't have money, but immediately they see someone with a juicy offer, they are ready to bring out 500K. That's the one they like, the one that somebody will do for them. Usually, they always fall into a hole. Yeah. Another thing is ability. Some people feel that they can't do it. Why can't you do it? You went to school, didn't you? You learned trigonometry or whatever that thing is and statistics, and you were able to come through. So why do you think you can't do this? You can do this. There are lots of people like you who have actually done this, yeah? And there's someone's testimonial on the right, a US citizen born and bred in the US who came to Canada through the permanent residence status. He received the Provincial Nominee Program too. The application took 19 months. He moved to Ontario. Best move I have ever made. This is somebody's testimonial. And then fear. Maybe Sherry wants to do P of 60,000. Maybe it won't work. Maybe this, maybe that. I'm telling you, stepping out of your house to get into your car to take a bus is a risk. Do you understand? But then you need to step out to go to work. So it's the same thing with this, okay? You need to actually make a move. If you don't make a move, nothing changes. So I'm going to answer a couple of questions that I usually get. Someone says, how can I increase my chances of receiving a nomination? Number one, just by submitting an express entry profile, you can increase your chances of receiving a provincial nomination. Just by being in the pool, I'm telling you, it works like magic. Just by being in that pool, you can be picked by a province. Yeah, provinces frequently scan the pool. I'm telling you, they need certain workers to respond to their labor or demographic gaps, and they will pick you from the pool. You need to ensure that your profile is strong, and I have indicated that you're interested in multiple provinces, which can also help those provinces to find you as well. And then if you have a connection to the province, amazing. If you've studied there, or you have a relative there, or you have a job offer, which is something else, then your chances are increased. Another important question is, how much does it cost? Now, some provinces do not charge you to give you a nomination. Some provinces don't, so other provinces do. Like Ontario, for example, they charge you 1,500 Canadian dollars. Maybe not cocky. 1,500 Canadian dollars. That's why some people usually think twice about accepting the Ontario nominations, because they charge, but some other provinces don't. So apart from that, these are the 7 costs that you're going to need to cough out money for: your language test, and all these costs are approximate: your ECA, your biometric, which is $85 per person, the government fees, that's the fee for a child, $225 for an adult, $1,325, medical examination, whatever it is in your country, police clearance certificate for any country that you've stayed in for more than 6 months in the last 10 years, and of course your provincial nomination processing fee, which could be up to 1,500 Canadian dollars. So you're looking at between 2,300 and 3,800 Canadian dollars. That is in Canadian dollars, not US dollars. So that is the cost, just in a snapshot. It might be more, it might be less, of course, depending on the number of people in your family. So remind you what you're getting with the Canada Express Entry Masterclass. You're getting that Express Entry Masterclass to help you create a profile and be in the pool. You're also getting the Temporary Skilled Worker Program, access to that, and access to the ABCs of the Canadian Provincial Nominee Program. My courses or my trainings are not static. They are always updated with new information, new videos, new PDFs. That is how they are, always updated. It's not something that you use one time and go away. We update it. So if you want to purchase, kindly ask for a purchase link from wherever you were invited from. They're going to drop the link for you. Use that link to fly or to purchase. So let me tell you something right now. The truth is that trying to process Canada visa, not a study visa this time, I apologize for that, a PNP without proper guidance, knowledge, and mentorship is infinitely what it is harder. Trying to do anything, especially for Canada immigration, which is a bit, it's not really clear like other countries, is problematic. And then what about the importance of time and money? Do you know the amount of time and money that you would waste if you were in the wrong process, doing it wrongly? And with Canada, time is actually money, because the older you get, the more difficult it might be for you to get a program that is suitable for you. So you want to avoid wasting money. I don't want you to waste your money. And then you also want to ensure that you're doing it on time. So a little bit of reminder, we're still going to be taking questions. A little bit of reminder is that you and your entire family can actually become Canada permanent residents using the Express Entry and the PNP this year. Remember what I said, that the government is concentrating on the PNP because they want to encourage a lot more people to come in through the PNPs. The PNPs are doing their draws regularly, like almost on a weekly basis. One province is doing a draw or the other. Now you get all the benefits of being a permanent resident. You have a chance to avoid mistakes in your application, and it's a step-by-step guide that you can follow and be successful. So decision. Some people were at the same or on the same point that you are right now. There are some people 6 months ago, 1 year ago, who were trying to make a decision. They did make a decision. Some of them are in Canada. Some of them are yet in Canada because they didn't do anything. Some of them are in the process. It's not a race. The most important thing is that you're doing things according to your own pace. Yeah. So decision points. You can actually make Canada your new home. Canada needs you. In fact, that's another thing I didn't even say. They need you. Canada's looking for you. If you have the skills that they need, if you have connection to their province, if you can contribute to the economy of a province, they actually would want you. And that's why they have the provincial nominee programs, okay? Because they actually would want you. So you can be a Canada permanent resident in record time, you and your entire family. So make haste while the sun shines and stop going in circles. So if you want to take that leap of faith, like I said before, please go ahead and reach out to whoever invited you, ask them for the link to purchase. Purchase it and start. The earlier, the better. You understand? The provinces are invited, left, right, center. Don't let it pass you by. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation. Almost 1 hour. I talked too much. I need to drink water. Thank you for listening. I will come back and start answering your questions in a second. Okay, I am back. Wow. Awesome, right? I've been talking for like 1 hour. We can talk. Okay, so I'll take questions now. Like I said before, please, your questions should be related to what we're talking about. Your questions should not be about studying in Canada. I will not answer questions about studying. Okay, so let's look at it. Lots of thank you too. I appreciate the fact that you spent time here. Thank you so much. Okay, now let's start the questions. And I'm going to be pinning up the questions that I want to answer. Pin this one. Okay, now the question about age. Someone is asking, what if I don't have family in Canada? I am 50 years old, do not have a certificate of study. Oh, show me the question now. From Canada, how does that affect PNP? Like I said before, you also need to apply to the province and you also need to get a score from them. Yeah. Yeah, 50 years old, you don't need to have a connection. You don't need to have a family member. You can still apply even though you don't have a family member. You don't need to have a certificate of study from Canada. Lots of people who have come, like the lady I mentioned, she didn't have anything, didn't know anybody in Canada, but she got a nomination. So you don't need all that. Yeah, you can still get a nomination. But the truth is that, you know, the older you get, really, the more difficult it is because Canada actually is looking for people who can improve the economy, so to say. Okay. So I mean, you still have a chance. I won't tell you to give up. Can you apply to more than one province at a time? That's a question someone's asked. A good question. Yes, definitely. Why not? You can apply to more than one province at a time. But if you're invited So on the express entry pool by more than one province, you can only accept one province. Eventually, you have to choose one and accept one. Okay, the 40-year-olds. So there are some questions that I just can't. If you're 40 years old, you have a family, will the PNP be a good help? Yes, now that's what I've just been talking about, that it will be. Okay, let me just go up and look at questions. And let's see. This problem is stomach. Graduates that don't have any professional skill, I really don't understand what that means. If you're, are you talking about being a fresh graduate or what? Oh, I don't get it. So it's the same thing. Even if you're a fresh graduate and there's a points-based system for professional experience, then you probably score 0 there because you don't have any experience. But you can still, it doesn't stop you from applying. I'm trying to pin up the messages I'm answering. I'm a registered mental nurse with master's degree in guidance and counseling, IELTS of 7.5. Okay, so what is your question? There's no question there. You need to ask a question, and ask a question I can answer a general question. Don't give me all your profile and tell me to make a decision. I don't know now. I'm not the province. I actually have to apply to the province. Okay. How do I create a profile? Wow. Great question. How to create a profile is by getting the master class now. Go through how you create a profile here, but we teach it in the master class. So if you want to know how to create a profile, just ask whoever sent you here to send you the link that you can use to purchase the masterclass. It's a lot of money. True, it's not. Think about all the advantages that you're going to gain from the program. How do I start the PMP process? You get the masterclass. What if my skills or profession? I don't understand. What are the chances with someone without a degree but already 30? So when you say someone without a degree, I'm wondering, is it that the person is not educated at all? They don't even have a high school diploma. So if you have a high school diploma and you're 30, you have a chance. You can improve your chance by going to get a diploma or something, or a national diploma or something to increase your chances. But you do have a chance. The thing is that how much of a chance do you have? But if it's whether you have a chance, you have. How long does West take? I don't know. I don't work for West. I don't know. So what does the proof of funds? What does the proof of funds aspect of the PNP entail? So a lot of times, because it is the federal government that is still going to give you the permanent residence, your proof of funds has to be in line with the express entry here. The express entry has proof of funds, and it is categorized according to the number of family members that you have. So just look at that. Look at the express entry proof of funds. If you are doing the points are different. Really, for the program that I use, for the master's program, they did not ask me for any proof of funds. I schooled here, they just took me like that, adopted me and said, give her permanent residence. So yeah, so different provinces have different proof of funds, okay? But eventually, if you're using the federal express entry, you still need to use that proof. You still need to have proof of funds. What if I have no work experience? I've answered that question. Nova Scotia College of Nursing inviting nurses. Nova Scotia College of Nurses is not inviting nurses. So they are only saying how you can get certified. So Nova Scotia College of Nursing is not a province, and it's not. It doesn't have the power to give you permanent residence. They are just a certification program. So it's not. It has nothing to do with PNP. Okay. How long does it take to get West? I don't know. The thing to get West depends on the process. I really don't know. It's different for different programs. Okay. I don't understand this. If one purchases the masterclass, will you guys always guide the person, provide every information, and give out contacts? Give out which contact now? What contact do you need? You don't need any contact from us. You just follow the process. We only need people who follow the process. If you're not ready to follow the process, maybe you should leave it. Can someone who is 34 years old apply for PNP through Master Express Entry? Yes, I don't see any reason why not. Are there special kind of entrepreneurs? Let me see this question, please. I just came out this question. Are there special kinds of entrepreneurs required? Should the entrepreneur also have a degree? Must there be a certification? Now, this person asking this question is Zibo Mobo. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name well. Like I said before, provinces are different, yeah? A lot of the entrepreneur programs have different requirements. They are more interested in the fact that you can be an entrepreneur and contribute than whether you're educated or not. So I would just advise you to go and look at the programs. A lot of entrepreneur programs lately, I think just before COVID and after COVID were closed, but probably some of them are now active. So I cannot really answer that question. I wish I could. Do you need to be in the express entry pool if a family member in a province in Canada nominates you? Nominates you for what? A family member cannot nominate you, so to speak. Canada doesn't have that kind of system. It's only if your spouse is a permanent resident, they can now apply for you as a family member, but I don't know what you mean by nominates. They don't really nominate as part of that. Okay. Do I need IELTS? Amazing question. Yes, you do, unfortunately. You need IELTS, whether you're coming through the PNP or the express entry, you must jump the scale and scale the wall of IELTS. You need to do your IELTS. Now, while the express entry might be asking you for a 7.5 points, most of the provinces are asking for something less. So even if you had 5.5 or 6 or whatever, some provinces will take it. Okay, so if you're asking about licensing, it's a good question. There are certain occupations in Canada that you cannot work at except you're licensed. There are some provinces that will ask for licensing. There are some provinces that will not care about the licensing because, of course, they know you cannot even practice without a license. So this person, Maureen Choma, asking, I'm a residential architect. You're asking if you need a license for the SIMP. You would need to go through the requirements and see. SIMP they have a very active email and contact, so they provide support. So you can send them an email if you don't find that information on the website, and trust me, they will answer. So people asking about, like I've seen a lot of that question, I'll pin this up, but I've seen a lot of questions asking, oh, but I'm not educated. Oh, but I have only high school degree. I have this. The list that you can have to enter either Express Entry or Provincial Nominee Program is a high school diploma. But of course, I will be lying to you if I tell you that is the best. I think it's best if you have a post-secondary degree, yeah, even if it's a national diploma, to have a chance or to increase your chances. If you have a diploma, high school diploma or WAEC or whatever, you can still apply if you meet the requirements. The most thing is, do you meet the requirements? The requirements are not just about whether you have a high school diploma or not. There are lots more requirements. What about work experience? What about the age requirements? What about other things? Yeah, it's a complete package. So don't just hold on to, oh, I'm an NCE holder. What are my chances? I know what your chances are. Like I told you, provinces are different. You have to check the requirements, but education is part of the things that you must have. Okay. Wow, Bossede Malik, this is a long question, but I'm going to pin it up and read it. So you mentioned in your webinar that some express entry or PNP gives Canadian masters and PhD students. Does it mean a student with 1 year program in Canada doesn't have a chance of becoming a peer? I don't know what's the relationship between PhD and masters and 1 year? There are masters programs that are 1 year masters now. You understand? So I don't understand that program. I only talked about Ontario. I said Ontario has a program for masters and PhD. That's Ontario. Other provinces have different programs for their students, but I was just talking about Ontario. So whether you have a one-year program or not, it doesn't affect that. It doesn't affect you applying to the PNP. They are not saying that you must have a 2-year program, yeah, for you to apply. Somewhere like Saskatchewan, you just need 6 months work experience. Whether it's a 1-year or 2-year program, it doesn't matter. Okay. I'm not going to answer any question about study. Someone asked, what is the age limit for the PNP? That is a very great question. Age limit, again, like I said before, age limit differs. Now, for many of the provinces, they have a point-based system. A lot of them take people up until 60 years, some 65. Nova Scotia is a point, case in point. But for them, your points become smaller as you increase in age, which means that maybe from 50 to 60, your points are smaller, but they do not discriminate on age. They take people up until 60 years. But then it's different for different provinces. So you need to check the requirements for the province that you are interested in. Evelyn, yeah, I hope that answered your question. I'm not going to be asking questions about study, so I'm going to be ignoring those questions they're asking about study. Can someone on JAPA still do PNP? I don't know what you mean. What is on JAPA? What do you mean? Oh my God. So these questions are so specific. What do you present as proof of experience? For my hand. For work experience, I will give you a letter now. You have an employment letter, you have a reference letter from your company, you have pay slips, you have evidence that they've been paying you salary, and you work in that place. That is it. And then it's a company that the RCC can confirm. They can call the company and ask, does Golden Tulip work here? So that's how you prove work experience. That one is the easiest thing, sir. So someone asked, what is the duration of the whole process? I feel that you did not listen to my presentation. If you're asking this question before getting invited. So the duration, the duration differs. So I don't know if you're asking the duration from when you start applying to the province or when you stay in the pool, but it differs. Cannot say. Some provinces really take their time. Some provinces are faster. So if you're doing this process, you need to put on the hat of patience and endurance. I can't tell you how long it takes, but if you're doing the non-express entry process, it could take a while. It could take up to 12 months or more. So that's why usually it's great for people who are already in Canada. So they are here, but they are waiting for their permanent residence, but they are working and doing other things. I already answered this. Asking official website for the PNP applications. Should I look at the presentation again? There's no official website. There are 10 provinces, each of them with different provincial nominee programs. So you can check all of their websites for that. Do I get licensed to practice as a radiographer in Canada? I totally wish I could tell you, honestly. I wish I could tell you, but I'm a radiographer and I don't know if radiography is a licensed occupation in Canada. Because this is your own occupation. To do a simple Google search, how do I become licensed as a radiographer in Canada? Trust me, you will find the information. Okay, someone is asking the same Mobo, Ezibo. I'm not going to answer the first part of your question, just the second part. You're asking if IELTS for 2018 can be used in 2023 and 2024. I don't know if you don't know, but IELTS is valid for only 2 years. So if you took an IELTS exam in 2018, it expired in 2020. While your ECA is valid for only 5 years. So if you did an ECA in 2020, it will expire in 2025. So anything you are doing, you need to do within that time. Now, if you have submitted your application for permanent residence before it expires, then it doesn't matter. But before you submit, it must not have expired. It is only valid for 2 years. Someone is asking directly. Okay. Who is this person? Blue Sea. Blue Sea, you said on your master's program, do you give link to the provinces, especially for someone in Nigeria who want to just, oh my goodness, follow your guide? I don't understand this thing. I'm so sorry. I don't understand what you're asking. Who can nominate someone on PNP? I'm sure I didn't say anything about someone nominating someone when I was making my presentation. I never used those words. It is the province that will nominate you. So nobody is going to nominate you. I'm not going to come and nominate my sister. Ontario, this is my sister. Give her permanent residence. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Sorry. Maybe you should just go through the presentation again. I'm not going to answer any questions that ask, am I eligible? I don't know now. Like giving me all your proof, asking if you're eligible. No, I don't know. And I can't say that here. Maybe you need to contact me later. If someone has relatives in Canada, this is such an interesting question. If someone has relatives in Canada, do I still need IELTS to apply for PNPs? The Prime Minister is your brother or your cousin, and you're a foreigner. You need IELTS to apply for PNP. To apply for permanent residence. Your name is English. Unfortunately, yes, you do need it. I'm so sorry. Need to be distracted. Is it general IELTS that will be taken? Very good question. Yes, you would have to take the general IELTS. Onindamola, thank you for that question. Not the academic one. Anything that has to do with immigration is the general IELTS. Will the principal alone present the results for the couple? So if you can present the results together if you need the points, or you as the principal applicant, you must do the IELTS anyway because you're the principal. But then your spouse, you have to now discuss with them. If it's something you need, yes, then I would encourage your spouse to also do the IELTS. I answered all the questions. I'm actually jumping over some questions because they are not appropriate for this forum. But Deborah and Nyoje asks, for the less populated provinces like Newfoundland, are there lots of employment opportunities there? Well, unfortunately, I've never lived in Newfoundland. I haven't visited there, sadly. Don't know, but you know, it's a smaller place. So I believe that they have employment opportunities that suit the number of people they have. And the way it works is that the more people come to a province or a city, employment opportunities come there. For example, when I came to where I am, there were not as many people here. And then there were not as many employment opportunities. But as more people moving to this place, cities are opening up, companies are building branches here. It's like that. So where the people are, the employment opportunities will come. And the government cannot just build employment opportunities when there's nobody there. So I believe that, you know, it grows according to the number of people there. If you're 50 years of age or whatever your age is, stop giving yourself headache because of your age. Just go ahead and do what you need to do, whether you're 50 or 55. I mean, if you have a problem with the age and you have a child that can go to school, maybe you can sponsor your child. But there's really no age limit per se, like I said before. Okay, we're not talking about access issues here. If you have access issues, send an email. Is UKVI general IELTS is okay to apply? So UKVI, as you can see in the name, has UK there. So UKVI is not for Canada. For Canada, you have to do the general IELTS, not the UKVI. Okay. Minimum IELTS score that one can use to apply. So the thing is that I'm always uncomfortable when people are asking about minimum. It's that, are you planning to just go for the minimum? So anyway, the minimum is 6 if you're applying through the express entry. There are some provinces that take lesser scores, but anytime you're going to do an IELTS exam, try and go for the highest score that you can get. Try and study, prepare, try and start practice so that you score good. I'm telling you, the more your scores are for the IELTS, the greater your CRS scores. And that's why we also have a module in the Express Entry Masterclass that talks about IELTS. and then a practice lesson or a lesson on how you can actually increase your points. Okay, I think I've answered the questions that I need to answer. When is the masterclass? The masterclass is an already prepared masterclass that is continually updated. So there's no particular date. The masterclass is just waiting for you to jump in and take it at your own pace. Okay, so I think that I've taken all the questions that I need to take. I'm not taking questions that have to do with study, because we're going to have a study webinar hopefully this month still. God giving me the strength. Just trying to browse through. Okay, I think that's it. So the total cost, someone is asking me the total cost in Naira. The total cost in Canadian dollars, just go and convert it. My goodness, just convert it. My God. Okay, so someone ask, I'm just trying to see a few more questions. What is the possibility of being in Canada as a student and applying for PNP? Okay, when I was doing my presentation, I said that I became a permanent resident through the PNP after my studies. So if you're a student in Canada and you graduated from a Canadian institution, then of course, definitely, you can apply to the PNP in your province. And that is what a lot of international students use. They use PNP because a lot of provinces have provincial nominee streams for international students. That school in their province gives them an advantage over somebody coming in from another province that didn't school in that province. So yes, you can apply for PNP as a student if you graduate. I mean, when you graduate, that is a stream that you can use to become a permanent resident. Okay, so I think I've answered all the questions. Yeah, I think so. Thank you very much once more. So like I said, we have a great weather. I want to go outside and enjoy the weather a bit, go to the park a bit. Already plan to go to the park. So I'm going to go there. Someone asked a good question now. If I have relatives in Canada, how can that help? Now, having relatives in Canada always helps. My goodness, it helps. It helps in the express entry because you get an additional 15 points or so for a relative. It actually has to be a relative, not a distant relative. It has to be mom, dad, sister, brother, sibling, cousin, something, aunt, and uncle. Yeah, so you get points. And if you have a relative in the province, you also, a lot of the province will also give you points because that is a connection to the province. They believe that that is one more reason why you would be more willing to stay in the province because you have a relative there. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. Okay, so once more, thank you very much for being here. It's been 1 hour, 25 minutes or so. It's been an exciting time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for asking your questions. For going back to wherever I invited you and asking for the link to purchase. Someone has asked a question that I really like. I'm going to pin it up. He's asking, can I leave a particular province after a few years after PNP? Why would you want to do that? The province went out of their way to give you permanent residence. You want to now leave? Why now? It's not fair. But the truth is, no one can tie you down. There are requirements and some things that you can go through that can allow you to leave a province. Some people have left provinces and it's backfired on them. Some people have left provinces and nothing happened. So you need to be very careful when you're living in a province that has nominated you. Okay, you need to be very careful. My question was not answered. Temitope Adekunle, what is your question? Can I apply for PNP? Chinedu Anya Shebelu. Sorry, if I'm not pronouncing your name properly. So Chinedu is asking, can I apply for PNP and study at the same time? Okay, so probably didn't attend the presentation from the beginning. My answer is yes, definitely. You should. You can apply for PNP and apply for school at the same time. You need to go after all the routes that are possible for you, like the Special Entry Provincial Nominee Program study, getting a job, getting a work permit, which one pans out at the end of the day. The end justifies the means, right? Yeah. So you can actually do the two. Yeah. Okay. So let me see if there's any other nice question I can answer that we can all learn from. Or someone says he wants to meet me in Ontario soon. Please, me, I want to meet you people. I wish I know the question you're talking about. You say your question wasn't answered, but you didn't ask the question again. So I don't know. Once more, thank you so much. Don't forget to go ahead and ask for the link to purchase. I appreciate you being here. I want to also use this opportunity to say we'll talk about the study route this month, maybe the last Saturday of the month, 29th or so, I can't remember, but I'm going to put out the flyer soon. And if you wanted to learn a bit more about how to study in Canada, try and come to that one, okay? Yes, you can apply to more than one province. And if you have non-academic certifications, it doesn't affect your CRS scores. So if you had, what's that one? Maybe not ICANN or something, it doesn't affect your score. The only thing that affects your score is that your BSc or your MSc or your OND or combination of two of your certificates. Those are the only things that can affect your CRS scores. Sadly, all those trainings or any other certifications, they don't. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely evening. I'm going to have one myself. Hope to see you in the next webinar. Take care of yourself. Peace and be good. Bye.